some of those other metaphors, some of those other images of human relationships with God are nouns, right? God as spouse, God as parent, God as friend, God as brother. Dating, however, is a verb, and so it's active and dynamic. And it captures a lot of things, a lot of highs and a lot of lows, a lot of excitement, a lot of development and eagerness of two people who like each other. And one of the things I like to remind people is that although the first thing that comes to mind, for better or worse, is a romantic connotation of the word dating, I think the experiences that people have when they're dating in a romantic way are very similar to the experiences you have when you like somebody, even in a non-romantic setting. Coworkers, friends, community members, siblings. You know, I like to ask people, think of your best friend right now. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share. Just think of the person that you would identify as your best friend. And when you spill tea all over yourself, then you can think, what was it like when you first got to know that person, when you first met them, right? Did you want to spend a lot of time with that person? Were you, today everyone texts them 100 times a day about all sorts of stupid stuff. Maybe you start liking things that they like. Oh, thank you. See, that's what brothers are for. Such a mess. Okay. There are similarities in all those kinds of relationships. But all relationships, such a trope, such a cliche, all relationships take work. And I think that gets overlooked too in the prayer life. That in the beginning, when people start dating, and if two people like each other, things happen very easily, right? It doesn't take much effort, it doesn't take much energy. In fact, you get a lot of energy out of that, right? You're very excited. And the same thing's true with friends and with other people you just enjoy being around. I think it's true about religious life. I mean, when you first become a Franciscan friar, Franciscan sister, secular Franciscan in your fraternities, you're so excited about it, or else you wouldn't be there, right? And it's very easy. You just want to do it all the time. You love everybody. It's like a great time. It's a honeymoon sort of period. But then life goes on, right? Things continue, and things don't always go so easily and so smoothly. It takes work. And in an age where things happen so rapidly and there's instant gratification as sort of like the ideal goal for everybody, if things don't happen immediately or easily anymore, then something's got to be wrong and we just ditch it. A lot of folks who say, oh, I don't pray, I'm not religious, I don't go to church, these kinds of things. I mean, there may be legitimate reasons for this. I'm not suggesting maybe even that this isn't legitimate. But one of the questions I would have is, well, is it because it's hard? Is it because, like all relationships, it's difficult? How many friendships do we lose over a lifetime, not because we have a fight with them or we break up with them? See, the dating, as one young woman said to me, so the thing about dating is, dating's either terrible or you get married. It's because you either break up or you don't. But I think friendship then helps us to appreciate maybe a long-term relationship a little bit better, because friendships have a way of either working on them and maintaining them through ups and downs, through really intense periods of time, through other times that are maybe not so intense, or they slip away. Now, granted, there are those times where you have a big blowout and there are fights and they're irreconcilable, or you think so, and you never talk to that person again. But I think, at least in my life, most of the friendships that I don't have anymore, that I don't follow up with anymore, slipped away. Because I didn't prioritize them, and I didn't take care of them, and I didn't spend time to be alone with that person. I didn't continue to work at knowing who they are, because we change. Without getting into process theology, let's just say God doesn't change, right? But we change. And that, it continues. And we continue to change, so we have to, keep working at that. So I think this idea of dating God requires us to think a little bit about our relationship with God a little bit more like we think about our relationships, or perhaps like we don't think about our relationships with other people. And that could be in a romantic setting, but it could also be in a more platonic setting, like a friendship setting. It could be in a familial setting or community setting. I think there are lessons we learn from our own experience of living as human beings, and what that reveals to us about who God is and what we're like with God, keeping in mind that all of our relationships are human and we bring all these things to them.